Well, welcome to Congregational Vitality, building community through conversation. Also, the shortened name for this is Grow Where You're Planted. Okay, that's the shortened name for that. Building community through conversation is the official name. Grow Where You're Planted is as you could say, the elevator speech for this class. And so I think Jody has sent out the agenda for everyone, and we're going to just jump right into it. And if you've been with us before, which I know mostly people have, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Deborah McConaughey, and Jody and I have been doing these conversations for quite a few years now. We used to do much longer conversations in person prior to COVID, and then everything moved onto online during COVID. So welcome, and if you'll just quickly say your affiliation, we can see everybody's name. But if you can say where you're from, which church you're coming from, or which program you're representing, that would be really great. So, Kwasi, why don't you start?
Well, good morning, everyone. Priest in residence, whatever that means, at Church of the Atonement in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida.
You definitely are someone that gets around, or someone that's been retired.
No.
Okay, thanks for coming. All right, somebody jump in next, please.
Okay, Bobby Knowles. I'm from the Church of the Incarnation, rector of the Church of the Incarnation, Miami, Florida.
Thank you. All right, Barbara.
Barbara Mitchell, Church of the Atonement, Parish Administrator.
Welcome. And John?
John Countryman, Church of the Atonement.
Wow, big representation. That is really good. How about Keisha? I think you're
Kesha
there.
here. Good morning, everybody. Church of the Atonement.
Welcome.
Go ahead.
Welcome. And if we had prizes, Church of the Atonement would be getting the door prize. So it's Kesha. Kesha?
Yes.
Kesha?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about
Yes.
that. Colleen?
Colleen Brown Palmer, Church of the Atonement.
Welcome. And Horace?
Good morning. Good morning. Holy Family in the house.
Okay.
Good to be with you. We will be delayed for a while. We're in a vestry meeting deciding on matters of urgency.
Okay.
Concerning our building. So at least.
Oh dear. Okay. Thanks, Horace.
Thanks much.
Okay. So we're going to welcome everybody. I have to say, out of all of the topics that we discussed here at Congregational Vitality, this is my top favorite one to discuss. And honestly, I feel like I could talk about this for an entire weekend because it's so important to the lives of our congregations. And so we're, as always, recommending the FAMA Bible Study, which if you haven't had an opportunity to look at the agenda prior to, you'll know that FAMA stands for Facts, Association, Meaning, and Action. And you might notice if you've been with us before that we try to use the FAMA Bible Study as an underlayment for the whatever topic it is that we are studying or talking about. And so we're always recommending this FAMA Bible Study because it can be a very short 5-minute Bible study if you like to lead off your vestry meeting or a council meeting or I mean any type of meeting that you have in the Church Daughters of the King, Altar Guild, Men's Breakfast if you have something like that. Or it can be, interestingly enough, expanded to to go an entire day. So what we like about this is it's an accordion Bible study, and also you can use it to be the lead off to get people's mind in the frame of whatever it is that you're going to be discussing. And so if someone can go ahead and just read through the verse for today, Philippians, just someone can jump in and read the whole verse there, that would be really good.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Make my joy, Philippians 2, 2-4. Make my joy complete. Be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or empty conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interest, but to the interest of others.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, and so you'll notice the facts, reflect, and there are no wrong answers for this, by the way. So reflect and discuss, and just for the sake of we're moving through this quickly, so reflect and discuss what you saw in this reading. What do you hear in this reading? What's the facts of this reading?
It's a strong message of outreach.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Quasi. Okay,
And of
one more.
love. One of
Yeah.
love.
That's right, Bobby. Thank you. Yep. Okay.
Togetherness.
Kesha?
Togetherness.
Togetherness. Yes, that's right. Okay, association. We're just gonna, you can see how that could be super expanded, right? You could do a whole hour on that. But we're gonna just move down now to connect the experience to your own feelings and lives. So this is the association component of this family Bible study.
So when I think about love, because I use the word love, in terms of connecting myself, I like to think that that I love my community. I love the people that I serve, and I even love the people that I don't serve, who I would like to love if they would allow me to. Those on the outside, those on the street, and so on. And I feel that it's important that I show love to everyone, the kind of love that Jesus would have shown.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. One more on association.
Definitely a component of the building the beloved community. And so I and Atonement are always trying to focus on what we can do to build the beloved community.
Thanks, Quasi. Thank you. All right, meaning. Identify and discuss the deeper meaning of the experience and its importance. And there's so many ways to look at this.
I think in terms of the outreach, in terms of us reaching out to beyond our community, because I think that we are very good at staying within the four walls and reaching those people in our four walls. But to reach out to the community, as Kwasi just talked about building the beloved community, how do we do that? But building on the outside so others would feel welcome and comfortable with us, that we could reach out to others as opposed to just our church.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anybody else want to jump in here? I mean, one thing I like, I'll just jump in, I'll feel free to join in. And I like make my joy complete.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something so, I don't know, just so great about when we're all working together for, you know, for the greater good, for God's world. There's something so joyful about that. Or the potential to be joyful about that, that it doesn't have to be grim and serious. And we're doing this and It's really hard work but it's joyful, and energy filled. Okay, and so let's move on to the last one, and which I suspect is why mostly everyone is here, the action element of this particular passage.
That to me is the most important, because we can have all the great intentions, but how do we actualize it is really the important aspect of it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, somebody else that maybe hasn't had a chance or is hanging back. Or not. I mean,
You know,
what
it's okay to make plans and say we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it. But until we put those plans into actions, they don't, they don't amount to very much, because they're still on paper, they're still in our heads, so we're still talking about it. But we need to then go out and act on those plans or on those things that we talk about, the action. In terms of making the beloved community, you have to put it in action other than just saying it, but also doing.
Yes, thank you. And you might notice, just looking at this Bible study, there's a lot of activating words here. There's a lot of make my joy, do nothing, let each of you
be of the same mind.
Be of the same mind. I mean, those are not words for the shrinking violet congregation. Those are like get up and go kinds of words. And so thank you, everybody. I can't say enough good things about this Bible study. I mean, we learned this Bible study in 2017. And I mean, really, I think in some respects, the best thing I learned since seminary. I mean, it's something that you keep in your back pocket. It's not intimidating. It's not a threatening Bible study. Let's move on now. So let me tell you what this Grow Where You're Planted, and then the official name Building Community Through Conversation is not about. It's not about figuring out how we're going to get more children in church. It's not about how we're going to pay the electric bill. It's not about how we're going to patch up the holes in our budgets. It's not about any of those things. This is a mission and ministry, completely action, activity driven program dedicated to trying to help our parishes become the hands and feet of Christ. And I just rest easily on the hands and feet of Christ, because that's the theme song for St. Columba, where I'm the rector and Jody's the parish administrator. And that helps us. We call ourselves the hands and feet of Christ. We think of ourselves as the hands and feet of Christ. And you may not want to adopt that particular slogan, but I will say having a slogan, having something that you can say that is like 5 words, a 5-word activating phrase for the mission and ministry of your parish can be extremely helpful. You don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it, having to explain it, thinking about it, spending a million years on trying to figure out a better mission statement. What does mission and ministry mean, etc.? That's not what this is about. It's an activating phrase so that you can join people together, everybody all at once, going in the same direction as outreach into the world in the name of Jesus. And so we promise some data-driven stuff, and I'm just going to go through all of this data-driven stuff, which we'll send this out to you. Oh, good, we have it. I mean, thank God for Jody. She just keeps me honest, right? So how do you know who you are, who your community is, You know, how do you figure things out in the walls surrounding your church? So one of the things that you can do is break out of the church as the church within the four walls, or if you expand out your property a little bit into the landscaping, or you know, the physical boundaries of your church, and start thinking about your church less like a congregation and more like a parish in the way that we think about parishes in the old time sense, which would be a postal code address, or if you're in a small town like I am in Marathon, you know, we do like an island to island thing. Or, you know, we think of our parish as you know, it goes from this island to that island. And that way it addresses one thing that Bobby just talked about. Sometimes we're very good within our own walls and we think, yeah, we're doing it. You know, we've got this. We're doing mission and ministry for Jesus. And we might be within our own walls of the physical church walls. But, you know, Jesus never said, as far as I know, now correct me if I'm wrong, how can I get more people in the pews so that I can cover the water bill or make on my AWA better? Jesus never said, I've got 5 people in the congregation that are in need of help or are in trouble or lonesome, and I'm going to minister to only those 5 people. Jesus never said, as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Episcopal Church would be doing so much better if we could only get a young priest at our church so that we could attract young families. I don't know. I never see that in the Bible. And, you know, I look, but I never see that. So what this is about is trying to figure out what is going on in our communities and what are the gifts and the talents of the individual people in the parish that can be used and utilized to minister to the people in the parish sense that we're talking about our churches. And this is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. It is a ton of work. It is a 5 to 7 year plan. It is not because it is not something that happens, you know, you think, okay, I'm going to do this thing and, you know, in 5 minutes, everyone's going to get it. This is not that. This is a 5 to 7 year plan, and this is an absolute ton of work. And it is really fun. It is really fun. It is really exciting work. It is way more fun than figuring out how to pay the water bill. It is way more fun than wringing our hands. Because guess why? Because in doing this type of work, we then get to be involved in the whole make my joy complete aspect of the work of the church, of the ministry of Jesus as who we're called to be. You know, I mean, Jesus didn't call us to be you know, warriors and hand wringers. Jesus called us to be dynamic and powerful and engaged and hopeful. And we can be all of these things. And this is not a detail-oriented presentation today. This is an engagement presentation. I will say this, if you are interested in this, we can get into the details. This is my favorite topic, and I'm happy and Jody is happy. We can talk to you and coach you until we are literally blue in the face on what to do. But each parish, each congregation is going to be different. So if you're going to grow where you're planted, I don't know how many people in the group today, have ever had a garden or seen a garden or
Yeah.
thought about having a garden, right? Okay. So, so, if you have a garden, right, you think about you're going to have a garden and, you're going to look around and you're going to think, okay, what kind of garden do I want to have? Well, I want to have a vegetable garden. And I mean, I grew up in New England and then moved to Virginia and then moved down here to the Florida Keys, where I mean I've lived here a really long time now, so I guess I live here now. And so the gardening in Massachusetts is extremely different from the gardening in the Florida Keys. I mean, as a matter of fact, the whole entire growing season is flipped on its ear, right? We have Florida corn in February. We have strawberries in February and March. I mean, if you tell people in New England, oh yeah, it's our corn season in February and March, they'll just look at you like, what are you smoking? Right? Really? They'll just, because the growing season in New England is when? It's in July and August. When they sing in Oklahoma, the corn is as high as an elephant's height. They're not talking about corn that's growing in February. They're talking about corn that's growing in the summertime. And so if you tried to grow corn in New England in the winter, you couldn't even get through the ground because the ground is frozen. So what you want to do in your parish area is you want to take a good look at the ground around you. And there's a lot of different ways that you can take a look at the ground around you. You can walk around your neighborhood. You can read the newspaper. You can sort of take a look on Facebook and see what other community groups are doing in your neighborhood, in your area. So you're using like all of your powers of observation. You can connect with other churches in your area and see what they're doing and maybe if they might need a little help. And after you kind of look around, don't spend too much time doing that though. Okay? Maybe 2 weeks at the most, right? If you haven't been paying careful attention to your neighborhood, I would say 2 weeks at the most. There might be some people on this phone call where you've already been looking around and you're like, oh yeah, I know some instant needs in my area. And so just like you're looking at that plot of land, you go, okay, this plot of land is going to need some fertilizer, some dirt, some things to help to make it a better plot of land. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to look inside your walls of your congregation. Okay, your people in your pews. And you're going to look at those people with beautiful, warm eyes of joy. All right. And you're not going to look at them and say, gosh, if only we had people in their 50s and 40s, and if only we had some families. You're not looking at your people like that. You're going to say, oh, we have these new retirees. We have, the people with the history in the church, the elders, people in their 80s and 90s who have the recollection of some things that might have been really successful, in terms of community outreach. They might have connections through their family. long kind of like tentacles into the community. And you're going to be looking at those people with warm eyes of love. Okay? Warm eyes of love. And you're going to be thinking to yourself, all right, I know that this person is so talented in like an invitation, like inviting people. This person has like the greatest parties at their house, or you know, this person is really good at telling you the news, or super handy, or in their job they're a really good organizer, or so you're going to be looking at people through that way, not of what we can't do in our congregations with our individual people, but what our people can do through their many gifts and talents, which is our underutilized asset. And then you're going to be gathering those people together. I find it very helpful if you get a champion to help you do this gathering. So if you have people that are excitable and really good at sharing the news, you start like chatting them up, because you're just planting the seeds a little bit. You're improving the ground. You're you know what I mean? You're just improving the ground. You've looked at the outside. Things are just sort of coming together. So think about it like this. You've made, you know, you've selected your ground, which could be the church, it could be partnership with another church, it could be a community endeavor, whatever it is. You kind of have, you know, something in mind. You might have 5 things in mind, right? And you're just kind of weighing them. You haven't spent a lot of time on it. Don't get bogged down in any of this. This is like a fast moving river, okay? And then you've looked at your congregation with warm eyes, all right? With warm eyes, and you said, you know, okay, these are some of the talents and abilities of our congregation, and you don't want to weigh on people too much. You don't want to say, okay, we're going to change the world of Miami, right? You want to like do something that is manageable and pretty small, so that your church can have success. You can feel really, really good about it. You can have success at it. It could even have a beginning, a middle, and an end, so that it's, you know, like a 3-month project or a 6-week project or whatever, so that the project begins. You do the project together, whatever it might be. The project is completed, and then you reflect and celebrate that project. And there's always something to celebrate in any project, even if things don't go exactly how, you know, you plan them to go. There is always something that can be celebrated. And that's how you do it. That's how you grow where you're planted, in a nutshell. And then you go on to another project, and you do more listening, and you do more learning, and you and maybe your project gets expanded, you know, to 3 months, or maybe your church finds something that it really likes to do, or a partnership that it really likes to have with another church or a community group. And then you know, you talk amongst yourselves, and you're like, yeah, we're totally into this. We want to do this for a while. We want to do this forever. And what happens is this: the church, the people build confidence in their ability to observe the outside world, see what the needs are in the world outside of the congregation, form up teams, form up groups, and then do the project. And you know how they say, you know, if you think about like you put the pebble in you throw the pebble in the water, right? You throw the pebble in the still water, and you know how the rings come out of that pebble just by displacing the water. It can be a very small pebble. It doesn't have to be a rock. It can be a small pebble. And then what will happen is this: the people in your congregation, this is what you dream about, and this is what will happen. The people in your congregation will then themselves become empowered, for leadership positions. You're going to then be able to do some coaching with those people, some formation with the people, and they will invite other people to do whatever it is that you've decided is the mission and ministry of your particular church. And that mission and ministry can change. It can reflect like down here in the Keys, 3/4 of our congregation goes away in the summertime. And so we have kind of like different like seasonal missions and ministries. Um it's a very plastic, it's a very plastic kind of situation. And that will work. This will work. And you can tell I'm like giving you a lot of information, and I'm not stopping at things, and we're not having conversation about it. And I'm doing that on purpose. And here's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because this is urgent. And a lot of times in the church, what we really love to do, because we all like each other and we want to hang out with each other and talk to each other about everything forever. You know, where are we going to, you know, put this potted plant? And, you know, should we put it on the left side of the dresser or on the right side of the dresser? God does not care about that. You know, God does not care about that. God wants us to be activated for love in this world. And we spend far too much time talking about the process of how we're going to do it and what that's going to look like, and not enough time doing it. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm happy to entertain any questions, and you can criticize me too if you like, and say, what about this? How come you didn't talk about that? And so I'm happy to do that also, because if you know me, you know I'm a nonstop talker. But not really, Bobby, right? You knew me when I was at General Convention. I'm very quiet, aren't I, in real life?
Mhm.
No. Oh, no,
Until it's time
quiet.
to talk, right?
Okay.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Okay, questions.
Wait, I have a question because I was thinking, I was speaking to a couple of people from my parish, and we're talking about trying to reach out to the community, not for the sake of trying to get people into the church, but just for us to have to do more outreach.
Yeah.
And I thought about, well, right now I work with two schools. The two schools, they're named after members of my congregation who are both deceased. Well, several schools are named after them. But these two that are near to the church, I wanted to be able to do more than just for Christmas or Thanksgiving or when school opens. We do stuff like that. But I wanted to do more. And I'm saying that I was going to speak to the principal this week. I had planned next week. I was planning on going in and speaking with the principal to say, what is it that we can do, like an ongoing thing with families? Because I'm sure families need help more than just 3 times a year. I just don't feel that that's enough.
Right.
And I don't know, is that the kind of thing I could do to reach out? Would that work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, schools love that. And you might actually even know some parents in the schools where the parents might have a few little ideas, or grandparents of what the kids need. But yeah, reach out to the administration and say, you know, we're real close by. We'd like to do more. what are some of the needs of the people that you see in your school? And they'll tell you. I mean, that's how our after school program started. I mean, from that exact thing, when we started our after school program, there was one, they had, of course, daycare, right? There's daycare, different places in Marathon. And they had one program called the Rec Center, which is an excellent program. That was it. And then if you had kids, man, run the streets, whatever, you're 6, you're old enough, and so that's actually how our after school program started. We looked around in our community. We're kind of like, oh, this is a big need of our community. And so then I knew St. Paul's in Delray Beach, that they had a really good after school program. And I went up there and I talked to them. And then also Marcia Beam, they had a really good program there in Delray Beach, right next door, and I went and visited with them. So I visited with I can't remember the name, but she's a chaplain now for Baptist. She was running that after school program at St. Paul's. Anyway, we went up there and we talked with her. She gave us the whole tour. Then we went over to talk with Marcia and her group, and we talked about exactly how they were doing things. And so we kind of just like copied their program. We copied their program. Ours was smaller when we started off, and now we've been at it for many, many years. So we've made the program more of our own, but the essence of that program is the same. But it came from a conversation with the school. It came from a conversation with the school.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
Deborah, so I hear what you're saying, and it's very positive and something that can be actualized. But we also need to think about most of the people who are on this call from Atonement are part of the long range planning committee.
Right.
So we're talking about how to move to a point of not just mission status, but parish status, which we
Yeah.
work. And so how does this relate to helping the congregation, get to a position where we can move forward?
Yeah. Okay. I can address that. So what this does, from a mission and ministry perspective, it gives you something, but what it does is it helps a congregation to build confidence in itself by taking small steps and by building experience with each other as kind of like the team. Do you know what I mean? As the team, building trust within the team. It allows leadership to emerge. It kind of raises to the surface different people's talents and abilities. And then it gives that core team something to invite other people into, which is an essential component of this process. And so this is how, so most of you know the story. I won't, most of you know the story of St. Columba. I'll just give you like the real quick kind of thumbnail version of the story of St. Columba. And this is not the Deborah McConaughey theme song, okay? I promise you that, because we are now doing this at St. Peter's. We are doing the same thing at St. Peter's down in Key West. All right, we are using this model. I finally have a new playground to play in, and I'm so happy with it. And it's called St. Peter's, which is your, sister parish, Bobby, as you know. And so same story, second verse, right? Flip side of the record. So when I was ordained as a deacon by Bishop Friday in 2007 at up at the cathedral. I already knew where I was gonna go because I lived in the Keys. Bishop Friday told me there's going to be an opening at St. Columba. The priest is moving, and I'm really sorry to have to send you there, Deborah, because that church is going to close. And I really like you, and I know you want to live in the Keys, and because my husband really did. I mean, not me, honestly. But he was like, Deborah, if you don't live here, I'm gonna miss you. And and so I mean, seriously, he said that to me, but I still love him. And so we had about, I guess at that time, about 6 people on the vestry. They were, which will be similar, I bet in your churches, you can find 6 people are super committed to your congregations. And this was a vestry that did not want to quit. St. Columba was on mission status. The attendance was around 13, so you know how bad it was, right? And I thought, well, I don't want to break up my marriage, by having to go someplace else, so I better make this work. And so that's a joke. All right. And so the vestry was very committed to the church. The 6 or 7 people, there were a few people on the outside of that 6 or 7 core group, and they were also committed but less active. So we had about 6 extremely active people. And we just like started right up. So some of you might have heard this story, but this is how I'm answering Quasi's question. All right. Now, the hands and feet of Christ did not come to us at that moment. The hands and feet of Christ came to us really during Hurricane Irma, following Hurricane Irma, because we were already doing it. We just didn't have our theme song yet, right? We had different little sayings, but the hands and feet, we owned that and we still own it. So that started in 2017. So I was ordained at the cathedral. Mostly everybody in the parish came. I mean, there were only 13 people. And my parents came down from Massachusetts. We had but I had tons of friends in Ramrod because we lived here like 4 years. And so we wanted to have a celebration for everybody that couldn't get up to Miami, right, to go to the cathedral thing. And so Kirk and I, we had this little party at our house where we had just like a grill, and we had some barbecue, right? And I mean, we just got it from Winn-Dixie. It was nothing expensive. We had a guitar player that we knew, and so we had a little party at our house, and it was really fun. And St. Columba hadn't had anything like that for years. I mean, they had pretty much nothing going on. And I mean, pretty church, but I mean, really nothing going on. Waiting to die. And their big saving grace is that they had somebody die, and there was some little money in the offset. And so it was working kind of through probate, and their big thing that they would say to me is, don't worry, Deborah, we can always pay you on a part-time basis because we're getting this money. We're getting this money eventually. And that money is going to go toward paying a part-time clergy. So, right? So that was their big plan. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. That was their long-range planning. So don't worry, we can always pay a priest and part-time. So I was like, forget that. I'm like just ordained. I have a lot of energy, And I said, why don't we have this barbecue at St. Columba? We're just gonna import. I mean, I thought about this for like 5 seconds, honestly. That's why I'm saying don't overthink it. It's like the barbecue at our house was really fun. It hardly cost anything. People had a great time. And let's do it at St. Columba. Now, this was a parish that on Sunday, even though I love this person a lot, she was the head of our altar guild. Almost every Sunday, she would stand up in church with the 13 people and really mourn the fact of the time years ago where St. Columba used to have 3 altar guild teams. Almost every single Sunday, she would do that. And I mean, that made me crazy, right? But I mean, there was so much grief on the way things used to be. But so the parish had no confidence in its ability to really do anything. They wanted to do something, but who knows? So I said, well, let's do this barbecue. So we brought up our barbecue grill from our house, and there was another barbecue grill somewhere, and we got this guy to help us barbecue, and we just advertised it in the community. And our daughter Isabel was a good baker, right? She's a chef now, so we gave her an early start in chefdom. And she made cookies and cupcakes. I made potato salad and macaroni salad. And Kirk was like helping with getting the grill, meat on the platter. And so there's our little family, right? We cannot, the church is not confident, that they can do anything. I think we had somebody taking the money, right? So I don't remember who said they would take the money. Somebody on the vestry said they would get the money for people. We hardly charged anything. We didn't know what we were going to do with the money. We just hoped that we didn't lose money. Well, there was a huge need but who knew? There was a big need for barbecuing in Marathon. And people came out of the woodwork. I mean, we ran out of food. The people were taking more than one cookie. They made our daughter cry. Somebody had just shown up to church the first day. He was like 85 years old, Ed Boughton. And he said, Deborah, it looks like you need help with this. He just jumped behind the macaroni salad and he helped me dish out the macaroni salad and the potato salad, right? And so, I mean, we made, people had no idea where St. Columba was. It's off the road. If you drive down to Key West or Marathon, you will never find us. If you're looking for us on the highway, I mean, we're off the road. We have a little sign. It's illegal. It's against the highway. The highway people, we attached to the phone pole. That's all we're allowed to have, okay? People had no idea what St. Columba was. It was a snowbird church, rich people that came down from the Northeast and had parties together, as far as I could see. And so they came, and that was our first year. We made $300, right? After all of our expenses, we made $300, and we gave that money away. We gave it to Grace Jones, which was one of the groups that we had helped to found years ago, way before me, which was a daycare. We had already had a relationship with them. We gave them the $300, and we were really proud of ourselves, and we patted ourselves on the back, and that gave us some confidence. And people were like, oh, we can do this. Not everybody said, oh, we can do this. But I mean, we then got more people. We got people to help us wash the dishes. We got people that would help cook the food. We got people that would help set up the tables. Well, next thing you know, time goes by, right? Our bluegrass, it becomes what we call now the bluegrass and barbecue, right? Because we have confidence. And people are like, oh, that little church, they're doing something. I might know where it is now. And So over the years, that bluegrass and barbecue expands, like 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, and it becomes this giant community event. It's in the parking lot of the church. We pull out the tables. I mean, my most favorite thing that we used to do was we would have to pull out the church pews, which was absolutely awesome, because we would never know how many tickets we would sell, because it wasn't about that. It was about creating excitement, giving people a really fun time, good food. And everybody loved it when we had to pull out the church pews, right? People would help us pull out the church pews and the tables. And then we would need more and more help. So the people that were the core group, the 6 people, they would ask their friends, not in our church necessarily, can you come and help us with this thing we're doing? It's really fun, it's good for the community. And that's how we did it. We did it for years. We actually don't do that bluegrass and barbecue anymore because we kind of outgrew it. We did it for probably, I guess we did it to the Hurricane Irma. We might have even done it a little after that. Our band that we used, they all grew up and they moved away, and we don't do it anymore, but that was our confidence builder. From that little barbecue with the 2 things of potato salad, my daughter crying, Kirk on the grill, we burned up the grill, Ed Boughton helping us. Here's what came out of that barbecue. So this one is to answer your question, Quasi. Here's what came out of that barbecue adventure. The Hammock House free after school program and summer camp came out of that. The Florida Keys Celtic Festival came out of that. We have 2 stores that came out of that. We own an apartment complex that came out of that. And all of the things, our mission trips came out of that, because we built our confidence on that. We made mistakes, a few mistakes, of course. Everybody makes mistakes, but we didn't let those mistakes get on our way of doing something else. All we do is do that model. This is a replicatable model that you can do. It's not very thought heavy. There's probably a theory behind it. I think it's called the Disciples. Check me if I'm wrong. And it's
People love to be a part of something.
they do. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how people like to be.
Your church is doing stuff. That's
Oh
what I
my gosh.
want to be a part of.
That's right. And people get excited about it. And they can be 7, they can be 17, they can be 70, they can be 90. It
You
doesn't
get all
matter.
these new church members who come in from all these various
Places.
opportunities that they're being given.
Yeah. And because you're helping the community. You're helping the community. And what's the biggest epidemic facing the United States these days, the Western world these days? It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, but guess what the biggest epidemic is? Loneliness. The biggest epidemic is loneliness. What good is sitting alone in your room? I mean, how many hours a day can you watch TV? Or, wash your windows, or whatever it is that you're doing? How many hours a day can you do that? How many days can you go out for lunch or breakfast or whatever? How many vacations can you take? How many, you know what I mean? And if you're working, it's not all about work. You can work for love, work for God. People want to live lives that matter, that benefit other people, that are dynamic, and that are connected and that are creative. That's what it's all about. So anyway, I love this. I love this. This is my favorite thing. I mean, I will come to your church. I will wear you out. I will coach you. I will ask. I mean, seriously, down at St. Peter's, we are doing this very thing at St. Peter's. It's like a miracle, an absolute miracle. I mean, I'm going to get Calvin on this phone call one day, and he can talk about what the heck is going on down at St. Peter's in Key West. A parish that was signed, sealed, and delivered. The only thing that had not been selected was the coffin. It's like, it's not intellectual. It's like, it's so easy. Anyway, we gave you a bunch of resources too, because like, you know, powers of observation. You might have people that like computers and doing interesting data things. We gave you a bunch of resources that you can use to check out your community and maybe sort of generate some ideas on what does your community look like, things that you could do. Make sure your church is on the Episcopal Asset Map. It only takes a second to do that. And then get yourself an 18-month calendar and plan out your things, what you're going to do for 18 months. You have we live by the 18-month calendar at St. Columba. We learned it in Nehemiah. It's a management tool. We live by that tool, the 18-month calendar. And I wasn't really a calendar person, but fortunately I did have somebody in my parish that really was a calendar person. And because I might have just learned it and not done it, but right in the beginning, I had somebody that was really motivated by it. And actually it was Randy Webb, I have to say. And he was an air traffic controller, and so he retired. And he knew about like data and keeping track of things, and he kind of like got us organized one day at the end of the season, and we planned out the calendar, and I became a true believer in the way that can operate. You can plan out the whole thing, and then that helps you to see, well, this is a church day. You know, this would not be a good time for our event, you know, or whatever it is we're gonna do. I think that's all I have for today. I may have a lot more, but I know it's 11 o'clock, so I'm gonna stop talking. I mean, just like, it's so amazing when you see a church, right? It looks like the soil is dead, and you're like scrabbling around, or you're in the desert, and all of a sudden you see like the tomato plant pop up, you know, and like the little zucchini, and pretty soon it's got tomatoes on it, and everybody's tomato is not going to be the same tomato. Where it works at St. Columba, you know, our things that we do down here, there might not work at your church, but that doesn't matter. There's something for you there. And I can't tell you what it is. You know, I can probably guess, but that's not the same. But don't spend too much time on it. Figure it out and just do it. You know, and if that first thing doesn't work, don't get discouraged and go, oh, I guess that didn't need, you know, that's not we're not called to that. Or maybe the community didn't need that. Or celebrate always the thing that you learned from it. Because we've grown with this motto, the Florida Keys Celtic Festival. You know, that's the third largest festival in Monroe County, a county that's known for its festivals. I mean, we're third in line behind Fantasy Fest. And if we took our clothes off, we could probably be first. It would be scary. But okay. All right. Fantasy Fest is first, right? They've been in business for 35 or 40 years. The Marathon Seafood Festival, it's another, I think, 25-year festival. We're now, I think, going into our 12th year. We're the third largest festival in the Florida Keys. It all came from chocolate chip cookies, macaroni salad, potato salad, and 2 grills that we burned up. And from a team, from like a 6-person team that said, we can do this. I mean, the children that we have helped, the grown-ups that we have engaged, our faith demonstration, the housing that we have provided, unbelievable. So, okay. Anyway, I mean, seriously, call me. I'll come via Zoom. I mean, I'll be preaching the same song. But I'm willing to, like, I know from St. Peter's, here's what I do know, and then I'll let you go, that it does require a fair amount of coaching. So, Jody and I have been working with St. Peter's. We're now in our 2nd year of working. We just closed out our 2nd year, and we had a 5 to 7 year plan. In the 2nd year, we completed everything in the 5-year plan. Okay, we completed everything in the 5-year plan. And now, which was amazing, who knew? And you know, we're getting ready to come up with another set of plans. And I'll tell you this, I love Calvin. If you know Calvin, you will love him too. But he had just retired from the city of Key West as one of their attorneys. And when I used to talk to him in the beginning, because he loved St. Peter's, and when I used to talk to him in the beginning, he would tell me, and he was not joking around. He would be like, Deborah, I have to go. I am so tired. I am retired. I have to go and take my nap. Right? Honest to goodness, he would tell me that. You don't hear Calvin saying that anymore. He's got people running around down there. They're going to be on the City of Key West house tour. They've got a Christmas concert planned. They have they don't have any clergy. We have another system down here in the Keys that we do, and that we bring in clergy, really high-powered clergy. He's got clergy running in and out of there. Totally retrained the altar guild. Totally redid the church. I mean, they had big problems down there. Church insurance wouldn't even insure their buildings. That train has left the station. Okay? You can do this. And I want to help. I do. I love this. I love this. I know that you can do this. Okay? So go in peace, everybody, to love and serve the Lord. Activate. Activate. Right? Bye, everybody. Go with God.
So long.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank
this
you.
Take
helped.
care.
Thank
I
you,
hope this
thank you.
helped.
Yes,
Thank
it did.
Thanks
Okay.
be to God, and